2, 3, 4. What time is it? It's Valentine's. What time is it? It's Valentine's. What we gonna get? Several views. How we gonna get them? Domestic terrorism? We're rich and white enough to get away with that.
Why are there 4 of you?
Say hello to you, motherfucker.
Starlight Duke!
I just realized Valentine's Day was yesterday.
Welcome to Searching4RinoaCast, the Searching for Rinoa podcast. It's redundant, but then again, so is my lingering will to stay in bed despite me trying to do things again. It's like, turn off my alarm and sleep in another hour or two. I just did that. I just had that for dinner yesterday. When I'm 18, I'm so gonna... Like me, it's now 40 and due to just money, lives with me now. But I'm still a creature of habit. I'm trying to get back into the... I think I can set a day and time for this and go weekly or bi-weekly. I'm not 100% sure on that yet. It definitely does feel like I'm starting fresh. Got a lot to talk about and not all on one thing. I can't kill the podcast. I can bring it back from the dead. But it does need a name change from the... What was it? The one-player podcast? Because it ain't about the wrestling anymore. That was like the huge contributing factor, that last one. I had to like... So I'm like, okay. It needed a name change for that, but also there's like a Player One podcast that would have been confusing, and all my views just kind of got swallowed up by it. So yeah, there'll still be talk of wrestling, just not like... I won't devote like a whole bunch to it. Just because I don't watch doesn't mean I'm not following. I hit the brand, not the people working there, and I'm always paying attention. I'm still subscribed to all the other people who still watch. But now I'm at that level of like, they do it for me, you know. And so like, yeah, on Twitter, man, Kofi Kingston botched the Rumble spot. People in Punxsutawney watching this were like, yeah, Phil, we don't have to do that this year. We're good. We can just sleep in this February 2nd. It's like, hey, we're skipping it this year. Shut it down. That's 6 more weeks of bad juju at least. By the way, I fully blame WWE and not Kofi for just going to that well one too many times instead of, you know, make his Rumble spot him winning it. Anyways, I got some couple segments, not all of them gnomed. I can't do like S all the time, like snacking for Rinoa, suplexing for Rinoa. It's gonna be weird to miss that out on that. I just have this titled, "What are you playing at?" Is that an Irish thing? What you playing at, eh? As some of you all might already know, I finished up half a year's worth of RPG content with the majority of Kemco games I've completed. But I can talk about other games I've played. I did not know a 3D version of the arcade/NES Popeye game existed. That was an experience. Tried my hand at platinuming that game. I'm not super patient enough to wait for Bluto to throw bottles my way to punch him in 3D, because he doesn't... Like, one of the trophies is like, punch 5 bottles. I know it's cumulative, but I still gotta wait a long time play through levels just to get him to do that. And with 3D, usually I catch him like as I'm running away from him, trying to create distance, then he throws a bottle, like, and then I hear like the clash, like the glass, like, psst. So I'm like, oh, he threw something. I should have punched that. Everything else I got. Like, there's one where you do have to, like... It is kind of skill dependent where you got to get, like, the points and all that. Like, survive long enough to get enough points. Eat the spinach, hit the... Sadly, no real big-time voice acting on that. Like, I would have loved to have been, like, just walking around as Papa. He would have been, like, doing idle stuff. And, like, up, skid, up, people. Oh, blue. I can... I try to do Popeye gibberish, it comes out, Superstar Saga gibberish, Mario and Luigi. But yeah, it's all one song. The same song throughout all the levels. But yeah, it's like the same thing. It's just in 3D. You're catching the hearts, you're catching the letters and stuff like that. You gotta survive to like level 10 or something like that, and that's like the second or third loop of levels. Like, man. For a bunch of other trophies, 512 games or 512 games had some Data East classics for sale, really partial to bad dudes. I played 2 others in Wizard Fire and Heavy Barrel. Too Crude was on sale. I played that on the Wii Data East collection and did not care for it. Real cautious about Super Burger Time. Like, is climbing ladders in that game not a pixel perfect pain in the ass when you're trying to flee from enemies in the regular Burger Time? Because that's my question. Gave Alex Kidd HD a try and then ungave it a try. Like, wow, I can't get past the first level without getting like pixel perfect deaths and stuff like that. I know everyone's doing Master Duel. I had to put that bad boy away and focus on other shit. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Not gonna fall in that hole, man. I can't. I know I'm not gonna spend real money, but that's also like, oh, the hours went away and I can't get these particular set of cards anymore. Like, I wasn't done yet. I was kind of doing other things and I came back and they're gone. It's like, yeah, okay. Currently playing a game called Ninjin Clash of Carrots, a side-scrolling beat-em-up, but you and the enemies most of the time are all just constantly moving, so you need to like dash behind to get at enemies that are behind you and backslash them. Depends on the enemy. Lots of fun. Not something I'm gonna probably super melt down and plat. A lot of that's probably gonna be like super duper challenging. Like get like, it was like a 500 hit combo, 1,000 hit combo. Like, how the hell? My best is probably like 50. I'm like, Do you want me to do like 10 times the amount of that? I just have to keep reminding myself, you don't have to get the platinum. You don't have to get the platinum. You can finish games at 100%ing them and move on. Throw them back in to see if it'll take too long. Like the ultimate DLC for Orochi 4. That's a grind and then some. And again, maybe I'll get back to it at some point, but I'm trying to get started some other big time games for review. But I do recommend the Ninjin Clash of Carrots. Alright, let me bring back an old LP video game content segment. I'm going to be listing a year's worth of that, or I thought I would. It's going to be hard to list a whole year's worth of it, so I will stick to my personal faves for this. This is for something like, it's a game I super duper enjoyed, and even in some cases played the game beyond getting the platinum, so no ZJ the Ball or Zippy the Circles here. Yeah, I bought them. Yeah, I platinumed them. You see the 99-cent price for those, and you kind of know what they're about. Breakthrough Gaming, a bunch of those. They just did like a 2-player versions, 3-player, and 4-player versions. I'm like, oh, I need other controllers to get. I'll put a second controller and knock some other ones out. Like, I think I needed 2 controllers to get like the 100% or platinum for Coffin Dodgers, which was like an old people, like Mario Kart kind of game. River City Girls was another one I needed 2 controllers for, because there's one where you gotta like boot the final boss with 2 players or in co-op mode. Also the thing where you gotta like throw a weapon and have the other person like catch it midair. It doesn't have to be a volleyball. It can be just whatever. And I think there was a co-op trophy for Pac-Man 256 or whatever that one's called. That was a lot of fun. I played that an awful lot. But yeah, just cleaning up a little bit with that. Some single ones, they're a little higher in price, but really brain dead, easy to plat, like The Sheep P, The Ketchup Story. But yeah, I'm just going to list the really fun ones I highly recommend. So with that said, The Adventures of Platinum Hunting. Pow! Glass Shatter. Action Arcade Wrestling. Do 5-on-5 tag matches and just rack up the rank points to 50. That's the quickest way to get this in this regard. Pain in the ass, I had some issues with the PlayStation 4 where I had to like rebuild the database twice. Because one trophies weren't syncing, and then there was like I forget what the first one was, but yeah, I remember I had to do it like twice just to fix the issue. So I was really worried on PlayStation 4. But yeah, I came back and had to re-download Action Arcade Wrestling, and then I looked up like, what? That's the quickest way to get to rank 50. 5-on-5 tag matches. Do spots, do finishes, just keep building up. Like, I seriously went from like level 1 to 30 in like one match just because I kept with the match. I kept it to like when it was just 5 of us, and then when it's just one person, like, don't pin him or don't, like, turn submissions off and stuff like that. So you don't win that way. So that way, because sometimes the spot will be, do a submission. And you'll get points on that, but you also, like, win and end the match early. So it's like... ROLEPLAY getting some classic Sega Genesis era shooters in Gynoog and Glaylancer. If you're good at shooters, check those out. If you're just in it for the platinum, they both have in-game God mode, so that won't void your trophies. Like I said, River City Girls, I recommend that. I put it on here just because I got the platinum finally. But like I said, you're gonna need a second controller. It might take a while to grind up and buy every character's moveset from Double Dragon Grump and Double Dragon Not So Grump. If you like shooters, there's another really great one in Game Tengoku Cruisin' Mix. Might need a little skill to get all the trophies, but if you're a shmup expert, you'll ace this one. Even if you're not a shmup expert, it'll take you some... You eventually figure out what's what, and it's like, oh, this pattern. It's like, okay, you're good. Because you got to do like 2 loops with like each character and stuff like that, and it's like, okay, you're going to get familiar with it quick. But yeah, one sitting, it'll probably take you about 5 to 6 hours, maybe. Something along those lines. East Asia Soft with something that isn't a shooter. It's Rogue Explorer. Take your time with this one at the beginning so you're not grinding later. Nothing super missable trophy-wise. A fun hack-and-slash platformer. No pits to worry about. Hell Breachers like Rogue Explorer, but the sprites are bigger. Choose Assassin and Thug for Hire so you can move fast, jump high, and have this nasty super attack with your triangle button that you can save for bosses to just murder them almost indefinitely if you're just close enough and just bam. Virtuous Western, fun Western-style puzzle game. Kill enemies with a limited amount of bullets with your gun. Throw in the dynamite. I found a little tricky at first because you gotta get like the right setting, right positioning to be into where that dynamite's. Okay, it's gonna land here and do this. So you gotta call your shots a little bit. The final boss might take a try or 3, but it's just a matter of learning patterns and completing all the levels. Really glad this one kind of went along with the ride with me to do the entire game to get the platinum. I don't recall fighting the final boss but that's where I went with it. Another cutesy platformer from ROLEPLAY in Barry the Bunny. B-A-R-R-Y. Not Barry the Bunny, Barry the Bunny. You platform and get a limited amount of hammers to throw to kill enemies with. It was like a Babby Mode Adventure Island / Wonder Boy in a way in that regard. Actually played this one past the platinum, the whole game. Lots of fun. Might be a couple tricky segments where you're like, this boss is chasing you down. You gotta do like auto scroll. I'm like, Kind of reminded me of level of Warriorland where there's like a lava flow coming in. You gotta side scroll and get away from it. If you have a clicker itch that needs scratching from time to time, there's a new one on PlayStation 4 called Car Demolition Clicker. Do this with a guide so you don't make your time to plat longer. There's like a setting where you gotta like come back and forth again. It's gonna take you a while, but a lot of it can, once you get there is a lot of just like walk away and let auto handle it for a while and then come back and see what's what. Snooka Attack. It's supposed to be like snooker attack, like snooker, like I think that's billiards. I think I was like snooker. It's like a play on words. But yeah, platforming, puzzling, and billiards. Interesting little game. Didn't like this super hard enough to play past getting the platinum, but something different and interesting enough to put it on the list. If you liked Super Destronauts, I did a new one in Super Destronauts DX2. Play all the different modes for a set score. A guide can clue you in on what those scores are. If you've platted the others, this one will not give you that much trouble. Probably knock this out in like 20-30 minutes. A $1.50 Galaxian clone in Space Intervention. Get 10,500 points, and the plat's yours. What makes this even easier is every 2,000 points, if you lose all your lives, that acts as a checkpoint. If you're skilled at this type of game, this won't come up. I think I lost like a life getting to that point threshold. Took me like literally 5 minutes to get this done. Side-scrolling platformer meets Arkanoid? Shit, I forgot the name. I'll have to put it in annotations. Focus on getting the stars in all the levels, 3 in each, 100 total. Rest of the trophies should unlock on the way. Might take you an hour plus on this one. Arkin the Dog Adventure. I think that's what it's called. Let me see. Looking it up on YouTube now. Yeah, Archon the Dog Adventurer. Might take you a little bit longer than some of the 5-minute layered platinums, but play it on easy. Focus on getting as much stars as early as you can on the early level, so you're not, again, grinding a little bit later on. So yeah, there's a little bit of skill involved. Infestor was a neat game. You're this alien slime. Sometimes you need to body jack human adversaries to puzzle through levels. Could take you 30-40 minutes on an average time. Just complete the first 50 levels. Cave Bad was really good. Shades of Bomberman meets a top-down shooter like Binding of Isaac. Survive long enough to beat the boss of level 3 and reach a high score of 12,000 points. All other trophies are cumulative. The longest platinum by 4 in 4. Almost said 4 in Pirates Warrior Far. Again, I'm listing the ones I fully enjoyed, and this one was one of them. I think they brought the coins back for this one, but it wasn't as pain in the ass as the first one. I never 100%ed that one because you need like 3 friends to do like a get the coins or something like that, and then the grind for that too. I was like, nope, gotta move on. But yeah, I enjoyed that. I also really enjoyed Loot Hero DX. Last but not least, certainly. Another straightforward one, just make sure you're upgrading enough to eventually tear through far enough in the game to plat. I kind of got sucked into this game and played this a little bit more past platinum, just to see how far I could take it. Until I got like bored and it's like, oh, let's do something else. Best part is, I think you can look on the internet for Loot Hero, for a game called Loot Hero and find it there. It's not because I must have played like either Armor Games, Newgrounds, Congregate, what have you. And that's just the ones I enjoyed by themselves. I kept it, even that was like a long time, but I kept it not too long, including all the Paugi stuff. POWGI. I'm a sucker for those. I always get them when they're half off. A guide makes that quicker so you know what levels to play, so you're not doing all of them. The best shoujo battle stuff, there's a bunch of those. Some are the draw lines to reveal a picture like Kicks. Some are the Mahjong match too. Some are card-based like Solitaire and Poker. Sometimes with those card games, you need to be more lucky than good with those. But that's like an abbreviated year's worth of platinums garnered since I stopped doing Let's Plays. Next time if I get any, I'll let you know, but this segment should see less time to cover in the future. Speaking of future, let's talk about that now. I've talked about what I'm playing at. My next segment to, quote Teddy from Persona, what'll come out? Keep in mind, this segment is for stuff I myself might like. This isn't just like, oh, in general, what's coming out. Like, I know Elden Ring's on its way. I don't know if I'll be super up for that. It's not something just on my radar. I'm just like, okay, I guess that's a thing. I don't know if it's like a remake or whatever. I might see other people stream it like KZ or Gigaboots or whatever and decide, hey, maybe this game is for me. I know KZ streamed one game that I didn't know about and was like, maybe I'll get this if it ever goes on sale. Looked really good. It's a roguelike dealing with like the internet or something along those lines, or you're like some intern or whatever it was, but it's called Going Under. I had to go through my PlayStation 4 library to remember what the name of that one was. I couldn't remember the name. I thought happens more times than you'd think. Hell, Casey's responsible for Odin Sphere. And then look at that getting a remake. Speaking of remakes, more on that later. I get to talk about that later, but first things first. I know everyone's excited and anticipating KOF 15 fully out, I think, on the 17th. It's out now, I think, if they bought like the big expanded edition for like more money and the DLC, the characters that are coming out. But what's this? Another Voice of Cards game? The Forsaken Maiden, coming out soon in this month. Played the demo of the first one, in love with the game now. It's on the wait for sale and get this game list for sure. Of course, now I'm waiting for 2. So yeah, fighting games and JRPG fans eating good that day on the 17th. That's what it was. That's right, because that comes out on the 17th as well. Okay, the full version of 15. Again, more on JRPG fans eating good later. A very dark version of a Pokemon like I looked up over the internet in the upcoming Monster Crown on the 22nd. I've heard of this shooter name before. I think this is also on the 22nd. But apparently, Hideki Kamiya Ansori and Yuzo Koshiro of Streets of Rage fame on music for a classic schmooper. Scripting can only do so much, fuck sentences. A classic shmup and Soul Cresta, you guys. Super cool. Soul Cresta. Yeah, but there was like a Moon Cresta and stuff like that. A lot of different ship parts, like change your move around, change your positions, change docking to like different shooting attacks and stuff like that. It looks complicated, but it might not be as complicated by looks. Yeah, not much for the month of February, but that's what I'm looking at and looking interested. I'm like, okay. Valentine's is already halfway through the month. No freebies that I'm interested in, but yeah. What are some of your lesser known ones that you're looking forward to? Like you personally, not just like, oh, here comes Elden Ring, that comes out, blah, blah, blah. Like other people might be hyped for that. Me personally, yeah. That's why it's the Searching for RinoaCast. It's just stuff I'm interested in for the coming. So don't expect like me talking about like games, you know. It's that it has to be stuff I'm actively interested in. But anyway, with that done, let me quickly recap that Nintendo Direct. Kirby going from eating to assimilation. Poyo. Mountain of Squeenix games. That's not a faulty cloud version of some KH games. I'm not sure, but I've read the Chrono Cross Remastered is coming to PS4. Live a Live, unfortunately, so far reads as just Switch. Like, wow. Speaking of more than just Switch RPGs, all the Xenoblade you can handle. And a new one. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe getting DLC to double the amount of courses to race on. Fingers crossed for Toad's Turnpike SNES if that's not a thing already. Salmon Run for Splatoon. The hardest looking soccer game is on the game that was on the GameCube returns. Is Luigi still doing crotch chops, or are they going to bring him up to current Bullet Club status? Just throwing up the throw up the wolf. I've got the human and I shot them with my Wait, that's just Seth Rollins. I'm the best of the shit. I'm gonna win. I'm so glad he's full embraced that. Like I watch highlights just thrown together. It's like 3 hours and thrown into like a 30 or 40 minutes, just like badly cut and edited, so they're trying to avoid the... Yeah, I'm that level scumbag rage looking at just to kind of sort of keep updated, but yeah, once in a while I'll just get like the like, you fucking cartoon character, God bless you. He's not savior heel anymore, he's kind of a little bit of both now. He's kind of fully embraced like both aspects of it, I think. Especially with the theme music, love that song. They changed everybody else's theme music for the worst, but... Like, what was it? I'm trying to remember, like, one that really got me. Like, Shayna Baszler, they changed hers. I'm like, why? That was perfect. Fire Emblem getting a Warriors game, which just makes perfect sense if you think about it. Taiko, Mother 1 and 2. I feel like Mother 3 on Switch will have Monkey's Paw all over it. I say that because there's that extra money you gotta pay to get Genesis games for your little Nintendo backwards thing or whatever it's called. Like you gotta pay extra for that. That's DLC for some reason for a service. And yet they can remaster Advance Wars no problem, so... They can also take what I believe are early PlayStation games in Front Mission 1 and 2. Those are getting remade for the Switch. So let's go a little further than that with some hype trailers I witnessed for games. These are games that aren't... Some have release dates, some don't, but again, stuff I'm interested in personally and keeping in my eye on. Natsume Inc., the people that gave us remasters of Wild Guns and the Ninja Warriors again, are back with Pocky and Rocky Reshrined that's getting a spring 2022 release. No date just yet, but as a player of the SNES Pocky and Rocky, I'm super down. As much as they buff some of the bosses in Ninja Warriors again, I still enjoyed my time with it. Maybe I like those new characters better. I didn't really vibe with the... Ryan's got too much to figure out. He's super heavy, and I just couldn't master the throw. I get to the final boss, and I'm just like, she feels really squishy. Yaksha. I'm trying to remember the other new character's name. But I'll mess with them and see what's what with the reshrined Pocky and Rocky. New gameplay trailer dropped on YouTube a few weeks ago. Already letting me know this isn't just a remake. It is more akin to the Ninja Warriors game. New enemies, new characters to play. Hell, the trailer ends with the first boss taking a form too. Like the guy that like spits the seeds or coins or whatever he's got going on. I guess that's like an offering or whatever it is. But you take him down and then he gets like... It turns into like a big fleshy thwomp monster. And that's where they end the trailer on. I'm equal parts intrigued and also level of I'm in danger that they'll keep the bosses, but now they're all going to have 2 forms. Maybe 3 counting final boss, which I saw in the character reveals is... Oh, Black Mantle's responsible, blah, blah, blah. Just a few days ago, Master Splinter was revealed to be playable in Shredder's Revenge. He's got the turtles in time, grab an enemy with the arm and just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I wonder if they all have that. I think I remember one of the trailers seeing one of them do like the 3D throw. That's all I need. The whew, throw him in the mode 7, the SNES. Like if you're gonna bring it back, bring it all back, baby. But yeah, he does that. He dive kicks. He Tatsumakis. Still no definitive date on that, which just means there could be more hype trailers in the future, maybe more character reveals. I think we'll have an idea if it's closer to being finished if they talk of gameplay modes. You know, I've seen enough trailers to get a feel for like how it usually is. It's like hype first, fundamentals and actual bullshit that's in the game later. Like, it's okay, I've seen the outside of your house. Show me what the bathroom looks like. What's this room? Like, take me here, blah, blah, blah. You're not showing me everything just yet. They're not ready to... It ain't finished yet. They only do that till, like, around the end, until around, like, here's, like, oh, by the way, here's our release date, or here's the release date now, and now we'll show you what the whatchamacallit is. That sort of thing. It's like house hunting in a way. So, yeah, we got 6 characters for Shredder's Revenge. Do I hear 7 with Casey Jones? I guess Usagi Yojimbo can be 8th. It's .emo. They did the really, really, really good Streets of Rage 4. That's another game I did on my own. That DLC, the Mr. X's Nightmare. Played and 100%ed the shit out of that. I try to platinum the whatchamacallits. I can't get all the ranks on that. And there's also that one where you can't get hit at all during a level. I try it on level 1. It's... Somebody always gets a sneak in on me. I thought I was trying to the train level, because that's like super duper short, but by the time you get to the boss, because I think it's either like, I'm trying to do it with what's his name, Max, either regular or like the newer version of him with like the Thunder Strike or whatever. He has like a thing and calls down thunder, does like a shit ton of damage to bosses, like shreds health bars. Like I'm trying to get him there, and then just star move, and do that. Like I don't have to finesse it. I just have to not get hit. But I'm always getting tagged by something stupid. I'm just like, fuck. And I fucked up in frustration. I was just like, my right analog stick wasn't already working too well. I made it even worse just in my anger. So yeah, that there was like, that's another $70, $80 setback. I'm going to have to buy a new one, which I did. Because I know there's a lot of games that require that stick to work. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to play these, I'm going to need a new controller at some point. But yeah, if they're going to go that route and do DLC characters, I hope they open the forbidden door with Venus de Milo. Doesn't have to be canon. DLC characters. They could get by with just Casey, and then there's 7. Like, to me, Splinter was a bigger surprise to get the reveal in comparison to Casey. Like, they gotta give us Goongala, though. I talked about the Phantom Breaker Omnia before on this channel with the English dub trailer. They've since added 2 new characters. I accurately guessed one just being that Bleach arc where the Zanpakutos are like people. They just manifest into actual, like, characters. Yeah. Maestro, just main girl's weapon, being voiced by, with a gun to my head, I couldn't pronounce it, so I had to look it up. Xanthi Huyn. Or is it Xanthi Huyn? I see, I'm still not sure. I was saying Xanthi, or Xanthi, or something like that. Xanthi Huyn. See, I would have said Huyn or Yun. Like the H is, I would have thought like the H is sound. It's a Y noise for all I... See what I mean? Again, apologies. I think I looked up what she did. I think that's Haru from P5. An artifactor voiced by Cassandra Lee Morris, who I thought with all the weight she had on, is tied or connected in some way to the final boss Infinity in some way. He's like Phantom's number 2 guy. Artifactor might be a real thing compared to Infinity being man-made by Phantom, or at least from what I can glean from the website, story-wise. This game does have a release date, and it's March 15th, which is 5 weeks from today. That should cover video gaming. Now to a different kind, Tales of Roleplay! This is a segment I wanted to find some way to share, me talking about my experiences in Dungeons & Dragons. Before I talk about the game I'm in at present, I rummaged around an old school folder of mine, some extra left from high school I never used. I'm sure this thing's like been with me for at least half a lifetime now. Grabbed what I could of all my old character sheets, and I'm using that same folder to hold stuff I'm currently using with my campaign I'm playing as well. But all stories about my overall experiences start with the beginning. I'm here to talk about my very first examples of playing the game. Roll back the clock some 30s some years ago. Older brother, real chill most of the time. Through later years of him at college in a different part of the East Coast tri-states with that combination, I can probably count the amount of arguments, like yelling back and forth, that I've had with the guy on one hand. Seriously. Every one of them I can look back and go, yeah, Babby Renoa lacked maturity back then. Yeah. Who has 2 thumbs and got his head stuck in between a second floor banister of steps at one point when he was a kid? This motherfucker here. I did a video talking about my dad a bit on Father's Day years back, but for a rock of a human being, that's my older brother for sure. Proven here with still me being, I don't remember how young I was. If I was just being curious, looking over my brother at a table with all the D&D books in his hand, just going, hey, what's up here? Or if he was just like, hey, you like ninjas, let's come check this out with me. You want to be a ninja? Because that was like the Ninja Turtles era at the time, the 80s and all that stuff like that. Like, when ninjas ruled all things, media-wise. Still kind of do, more or less, in a way. Like, the amount of, like, there was like that one video on YouTube where it's like, all the Azuna drops throughout in fighting games, and then it, like, later on, it was like, here's all the Azuna drops in games that aren't fighting games, and it's just... I forget where I found that. I think it's Chaos Productions Inc. or something like that. I follow a lot of channels and see a lot of things. I can't remember where everything is, but I think it's that. But if you like fighting game stuff, check that YouTube channel out. Chaos Productions Inc. Incorporated. But yeah, it was like, you like ninjas? Let's check this out. And I was so out of my depth with this. Just a small taste. It wasn't like build your character up. It's just like make a party of 4, get weapons. You know, no role playing. Just a taste of the combat itself. I did really badly on this. I think I lost my party twice just because my brother like, all right, let's run it back and try this again. And Babby me just kind of like, nah, I don't want to play it anymore. That was just the inkling. Now, a little later on to the real deal. My first ever character by myself with like an actual party of my brother's friends just inviting me over, trying to see if I want to. He brought me in on his passions. He didn't have to. Like, as much talking said about my brother, he's the one who got me. He's my inkling. He's responsible for like the RPG thing I have now. I gotta credit him for that. Like, when later on me like started to, okay, I'm starting to realize the RPGs. Like, I watched him play and win NES Faxana do. I watched him do better than me in Iron Tank, which is kind of like the story mode tank like RPG. Not really RPG, but built like one, kind of, where there was like story and there was like it was like just one big level to go through. He did the Super Nintendo Shadowrun while I was still slumming it with games like the Ranma 1/2. I was still in the fighting games, kind of. But yeah, later on you start to, okay, RPGs like this. I'm like, oh, okay. Kind of waking a sleeping giant and I didn't know I had for like that genre of games. But yeah, my first ever character shoot full on for this segment was I don't have the particular character shoot for anymore. This was just, I think, just an introduction just to get me in here, but I remember the class. It was a wizard. I think I even made it even past like first or second level. You know, I was the new guy, the younger brother getting brought in for a quick campaign because they were running this long, months, maybe a year-long campaign before then that I would get into later, where the other players were like maybe double digits, some of them. But yeah, this is my first outing. I can't remember even the wizard's name. I do remember the class. Like I said, I ran a wizard. I remember had like maybe a fight or two. It's like, okay, trying to let me in. Like, okay, wizard's not the super most powerful. You do kind of hang back a little bit. You only get like a magic missile with like one finger. I think that's how 2E worked back then. Yeah, by the way. Yeah, one finger for like, and then by like every 2 levels past that, you add another finger, and it's like, oh, you can shoot 2 magic missiles now. I think it works different. I think I had a conversation with my current one. It's like, oh, it works differently now. Oh, they jumped 3 whole E's from this. So I'm like, oh, imagine my confusion. But yeah, magic missile, sleep to put down enemies and thin the numbers game. And usually my brother's first rule of D&D, it might be a first rule in general. If you don't know what you're running, if you don't know what to run as a character or class, go human fighter. Start small, basic, work up from there. But someone else I think went fighter, and I'm like, okay, well, you might need a magic guide and cover bases. Because that's what it's all about. That's what Final Fantasy 1 teaches. It's like, oh, you can be a party of like the same character or a bunch of these. Like, cover every base. You start to think outside the box a little bit. I did a little better now that I only had to worry about myself instead of like 4 characters, one of which had like a thrown weapon, but it's like, oh, you only have the one. I gotta go run back and go get it. I'm like, oh, for real? Damn. And I got murdered by street bandits. Must have been like, again, single-digit HP humans, and I think that was about the same age myself at the time. If it was double digits, it couldn't have been higher than 10. Which, if it was double digits for my age, it probably couldn't have been any higher than 10. Maybe younger than that, even. But this didn't last too long, either. A good chunk of our party, I remember, happened upon either a graveyard or something that brought out ghast ghouls. Some undead, which can paralyze with a touch or a sight or something like that. It paralyzed like 2 of us and downed 1 of our... I think it's 4 or 5 of us doing parties. Well, my brother was DM, so it was like 6 of us. But yeah, they just ate him up until... I think 1 just got eaten up to like -10, and then I was like dead. This is 2E again. I remember as far back as HP for that. 0 is... you're down, but you're not dead. Prone, I think, is the term for it. And I think there's even like some classes, situations, or like levels where you're like, oh, if you're like a barbarian, you can just like Little Mac before he gets knocked out, like the Wii Punch Out. You just like take that, grit your teeth, tough it out. It's like, oh, I ain't down yet. I get like a second wind kind of, so you can fight at 0. So long as you don't take another hit and go down again, because that time you're like down. But yeah, -10, your character is dead. And only like high level spells, I think, fixes that someone from like super dead. Like Wish or something like that, or Resurrection even. But that was, I think it was like a week or 2 week adventure to acclimate the new guy. Here's what you can expect. One other party member was like, hey, book it and live. Like, oh, which reluctantly I did. Like, this was from my point of view, this was my first real instance of RPG outside the consoles at the time. The solo inkling I did with Bandits, I didn't want to lose this character too. This seemed a little more finale. Right away, older brother just, again, showing me his passion for this. Like, the first fight he gave me to do for, like, he's still young, like, let him learn from his mistakes. It's still just him and whatever. Like this? No, there's a little more finality to it this time. I didn't want to lose my character. This is just the inkling loss all over again. But I remember the ones who died had to do like new character sheets. We might have did like a fight or two past that. I don't remember it too much. But yeah, that was a bit of a cold slap in the face I think I needed looking back. This isn't Saturday morning cartoons. This is Monday morning school in Philadelphia. You ain't always gonna win. You gotta make the effort to. And even then, the dice rolls don't favor you winning, even if the effort to is there. That's a story for next time. But yeah, that's my first inkling and my first like actual real outing in Dungeons and Dragons 2. Yeah, with the green back here, this background here. But yeah, tragedy would strike again for once again. But that's next time on Tales of Roleplay! Brian Blessed! Man alive, what's wrong with beef tomato? Alright, enough nerd shit. Let's get nerdy about food shit just real quick. No new eats, but more of a real, what grinds my gears kind of thing about food. Like, I saw it, but I'm like, I'm going to keep it to myself for now, because I'm like, if I'm bringing back a podcast, I can do this as a segment. So, a snacking for a Noah, but no food. I never had it, but this, like, old man doesn't recognize what he's hearing sometimes. Like, sometimes they'll just, because if I'm just downstairs eating, my mom will usually have, like, the TV on in the background. Speaking of TV on in the background, like, that felt weird that one Christmas, like, oh, I don't live in the East Coast tri-state anymore. I'm not getting the for Christmas this year, the Hestruck's here. Did that commercial ever come on? And I'm like, oh, right. I don't live there anymore. Same with the second most famous groundhog in Pennsylvania. Keep on scratching. The Pennsylvania lottery. 5 cash 5s. Didn't get that Christmas either. I'm like, I got neither of those. I'm like, what? Did they not make those commercials any? Oh, right. The last brain cell in the dog race crossed the finish line and was like, hey, dipshit, you don't live there no more. Like, oh, yes, of course. It all makes sense now. Dumbass. But, anyway, to the snacking portion of this, anyway. I think it was Sunday, the TV was just on in the background while I eat lunch for the day. Burger King ad for a double patty Whopper, which I think is a flame-broiled burger, like, stuff like this, I think, is why I didn't like burgers as a kid, and now as an adult, I'm like, okay, I see it. Like, maybe I just didn't have the right kind of burger or the right kind of sauce to go with it. It's like, okay. Food has significantly changed, well, mostly for the better in some cases in 40 years. You won't always be a picky eater as an adult. Some still are, some aren't. But again, I credit sushi for that. It's like I had that conversation with myself with the brain cells, like I said, and just like, you'll eat raw fish, but a hot dog is gonna stymie you? Why don't you get back on that horse and give it a try again? Okay. Still not super great on it. Let's put Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. That's another attribute. We don't like steak anymore. Let's put A1 on it. That's good. I haven't done that in so long, man. But anyway, back to the... Sorry, I'm rambling. It wouldn't be this podcast if I didn't. But yeah, the point I'm trying to get to, Burger King ad for the double patty Whopper. Flame broiled already kind of sounds bad, but then I see the onions. It's fucking raw. Quote unquote. Raw onions on a cooked burger? Why? But why? So I had my like water in the fire. Why moment with that. Not to understand though. Looking it up for like a picture, I saw something even more cursed. This article in 2020 about the quote social distancing burger with 3 times the amount of onions. I'm like, it's not social distancing. It's, if anything, you're only feeling the effect because you're gonna wear a fucking mask. Well, if you're not an asshole, you gotta wear a mask. Was anyone really doing that? I don't think it's a thing now. It sounds like it should never have been. Single onions? Sure, maybe it's a small enough amount of onions where like the flame broil and everything else, whatever's on a Whopper to like, but 3 times the amount? And somebody else, I think, there was another one too. The KZ retweeted at Shinamami about the got my IV drip of Mountain Dew from KFC. I think I saw Sonic do the bagged soda thing, like the plastic bag. Was where I first saw this. I'm like, and now it's from like after the bagged milk thing. I was like, that exists too? Damn. I've had Uncle Ben rice in those plastic pouches. Not a huge fan. They get that weird aftertaste sometimes. The frozen bags like Bird's Eyes, those work. So maybe they chill the soda at first. I don't know. I've never had bagged soda before. And now it's time for spoken word for Rinoa, or Shatnering for Rinoa in a way. I'm gonna spoken word these lyrics of this song. The tour de force. Can you call a song a tour de force, or is that for movies? The perhaps height of one Billy Gunn's career. Ladies and gentlemen, special thanks to stlyrics.com for from the WWE The Anthology spoken word version of Ass Man. Sorry, I gotta get a straight face because I just said the word Ass Man. I'm like, and then remember new is that a thing in AEW? Like Billy Gunn and his kids, are they actually called the Ass Boys? I think it's heard New Legacy call it, but I don't know if they actually called it a commentary. The Ass Boys, Jesus. All right, spoken word. Let's do this. I'm an ass man. Yeah, I'm an ass man. I love to love 'em. I love to kick 'em. I love to shove 'em. Shove an ass? I love to stick 'em. What? Love to flaunt them. See, I first thought it was love to float 'em. Love to float 'em. Flaunt makes more sense, but float 'em's funnier. But yeah, right here, love to flaunt 'em. I love to watch 'em. I love to pick 'em. And I'm gonna kick 'em. 'Cause I'm an ass man. Yeah, I'm an ass man. Yes, I'm an ass man. Oh, Christopher Walken, dance a loog. Oh, as soon as I got... I'm an ass man. So many asses. So little time. Only a tight one can stop me on the dime. So again, misheard lyrics. I thought he was saying a little tight one can stop me on a dime. I'm a lover of every kind. The best surprises always sneak up. And right there I knew I wasn't going to get past that. The best surprises always sneak up from behind. It doesn't say 'cause I'm an ass man. 'Cause I'm an ass. Yeah, I'm an ass man. Yes, I'm an ass man. Oh, I'm an ass man. Buns of glory. Buns of steel. Your lies won't give away the truth of how I feel. Now, I legit thought it said your ass won't give away the truth of how I feel. Like, I'll just peer into the cheeks. For years, I thought it said your ass will give away the truth of how I feel. Your ass will give away. Not your lies won't give away. Can somebody back me up on one or the other? Like, do I do that as a poll? Like, Oh my god. Buns of glory, buns of steel, your lies won't give away the truth of how I feel, or your ass will give away the truth of how I feel. You walk behind me, I feel the heat. That's why the girls don't walk behind me down the street. Apparently he's a smelly ass man now. And then it's just the first verse again, yeah. So much. But yeah, just I wanted to get the winner line is your lies or your ass will give away the truth of how I feel. It's all in the ass. Like the mind's eye is the brown eyes. Oh, I'm gonna pass out. I'm gonna pass out. So what'd you think of the segment? Has Billy Gunn ever had like irredeemably bad theme? Like even like Rockabilly was like, yeah, Rockabilly. I know that was definitely a low point Billy Gunn, but still, like, I think he follows this with the I got it all. Whoa. I might do that next. I don't know. I gotta find like some. Like my idea to do this is, well, I have ideas for other things for the spoken word or other things regarding, but I'll get back to it. Like, if I can't bring back wrestling, full time, I can at least kind of maybe muck with this a little bit. Ass man. Greatest thing Jim Johnson ever. What's the greatest Jim Johnson? What's your favorite Jim Johnson theme? Stone Cold Steve Austin? No, Ass Man. I think I heard somewhere where that was like his last theme was like the Baron Corbin End of Days theme. You know, the Baron Corbin. And then when he became King Corbin, it was King Corbin, Rinka King. Oh, I watched that a while ago. Who was it that did that? It was like the Hawk on like YouTube or something like that, like Hulk Hogan or something like that. I think that's what it was. Can't remember the name off the top of my head, but it's like, subscribe to the channel, I'll smack you one. Rest in peace, Jimmy Rave. Still feeling things out to see what segments are going to stay and go, but it wouldn't be a searching for a no if things weren't haphazard on the first episode, kind of figuring shit out. This was meant for Monday, and I got too tired to finish scripting this, and I was just like, oh ho ho, Valentine's Day yesterday, fun the guy, joke means Rinoa's, yes. I gives to you. I do it tomorrow. It will be funnier then. I love Valentine's Day very much. It's nice.
Is that a tomato?
Do the mint thing back again, like, oh god, bring her back on and kill my voice even further. Like, that was the thing too. I was gonna do a whole mint thing, and then I'm like, wait, I have to talk an hour or so after that. I'm like, I might want to do that separate, but we'll see what. Also, I can't call it the One Player Podcast anymore because I've planned at times to bring some special guests, share the creator love, so to speak. But with recording this today comes these couple of things I can talk about that I just found out before I finished up. I just hastily wrote these together. Disney Plus has a Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers movie May 20th. Just moments ago, I quote tweeted, "Is that fucking MC Skat Kat?" I know every Super Bowl they do a Puppy Bowl. Where's our halftime? Do they get a halftime show too? Because in my head, I'm like thinking MC Skat Kat and Calliope Mori doing the. Then my mind snowballs into, was Max Headroom the original VTuber? Did not see who's voicing Zipper Gadget. I didn't really see Zipper Gadget, but we've got animation cell Chip with 3D model animation Dale. So, like, kind of like Roger Rabbit clashing, but on, like, a different level, and Roger Rabbit was, like, in the. I should have screenshotted it real quick before I started. I think I veered past one Twitter comment that pretty much said it all. It was along the lines of, I don't know if I like this, but I don't know if I hate it either. Like, you pretty much summed up my reaction. I'm like, okay, this is a thing, I guess. And then we got Seth Rogen. Like, for anyone was like, is that Seth Rogen playing a dwarf? And then they put the laugh in, and it's just like, oh, that's just shameless. Come on now. As I already mentioned, MC Skat Kat, like, that shit was 80s, 90s party. The other thing, harkens back to the wrestling, just because I'm not watching these dudes doesn't mean I'm not still paying attention. I can't not be curious. The big news today, Cody Rhodes and Brandi leaves AEW. And a lot of people are saying for the WWE. Well, they fired pretty much fucking everybody else. I guess they gotta bring people in. I, for one, have fingers crossed this is all just this elaborate plan for Cody to get out of his management role. Like, he wasn't under contract when he fought Sammy Guevara for the TNT title. With his win record, he'll find some, like, bullshit heel loophole way back to fighting Hangman for the world title. Like, just finally embrace that turn. He's always reluctant to, but this might be that tipping point he needs. And this is his method of getting the AEW title. And and I'll cry like a little girl when I hear this happen. I'm just like, yes! Yes! Heel! Or, this ties into the third thing, Matt Cardona winning the all eyes were on Kenny Omega. Cardona emerges as this title taker now in his own right. Saturday, he wins the NWA Championship, the 10 pounds of gold, Switch Charlotte. Cardona vowing to change NWA to more modern aesthetics, like entranceways, theme music for everybody, pyro for just me and Mike Knox. This is peak heeldom for me, not the heat magnets that MJF and The Miz are, which is important as that is in their own right. I always vibed with the ones that were like, okay, he's a bad guy, but he ain't wrong. He might be heel, but what he's saying, and might be where he comes from, it's misguided at best, but dude's got a point. Like, quick example, Farouk and the Nation of Domination, their argument of black people in America, and everyone was like tweeting, like there was that one tweet going around, making the rounds on Twitter, like of Bret Hart going, I forget what exactly it was, like it's something along the lines of, everybody here knows that there's racial prejudice runs through America, runs through the WWF, and you don't have to pick an argument with me to get somebody to agree with you. Like, we booed this man in 97. Now we know better not to. And what's that quote? You support the heroes, and when you're adult, you sympathize with the villain. But yeah, the Farouk and the Nation is an example. Cardona wanting to build up NWA and make it bigger than just the nostalgia act it was for like the first year of just power with multiple R's. Like, okay, you brought it back. Now what? But also that same level, I can look at it from the other side of things and think all this talk of revamping reminds me of the Hogan Bischoff's TNA era of, you had 6 sides, brother, and it only got you so far. Like, I can see it from both sides, but yeah. The Cardona thing, like, I think his tweet of like, Cody Rhodes is leaving, all just to get my title. And I'm like, book it! Book it! The brash new champion that wants to rebuild NWA and make it more modern, make it, make it like everything else now. Like, it kind of, like, it might lose its identity in a way. Like, again, you can make an argument for either side, but that's what makes it compelling. It's like, oh, he's got a point. He's like, okay, I can see it that way. But then, yeah, that on one side, but on the other side, the son of the plumber, multi-time NWA champion, my son, Cody Rhodes. Gonna beat that ass. That's what I want. Like, WWE, you're gonna get the fucking Vincent Connell slap that fucking Stardust pin on you so fast, and I don't want to see it. Nobody wants to see it. We're all thinking it. We're like, and then there's this talk of Kevin Owens shit-talking Texas, and one person was like, Stone Cold coming back to the ring for something like that? I'm like, there's a difference between, I don't think that much. Like, Edge was out for a while with like a triple fusion in his neck. Even was kind of... Austin's been out for, like, longer than that. He hasn't wrestled since... in 20 years! Twice that amount! Like, you argue some of the older guys, like Sting, for example. Sting, he didn't stop for, like, decades. He stopped for a while in WWE because of the neck thing or something like that, because of Seth Rollins, but he's wrestling now. But again, I guess that's what they got to do when you furlough, like, most of your staff. Like, what kind of chaos is going on in there? It's just like, oh, God. It's like a train wreck. It's like the train wreck of soap opera. Like, who's in, who's out? Is Triple H in or out? Is Shane in or out? Was that at work? Was this, That's why I mentioned the NWA thing or the Cody, like, it's all a fucking swerve, and it's like, haha, I'm challenging for the title. I'm #1 contender. But that would also raise the question of, if he's managing it, why doesn't he just do that now? He said he's not turning heel, he made the promise to, but again, it would be a weird workabout way to actually get there. I don't know. But again, this is what you wanted, I think. Some of you, like, you didn't watch for, like, the wrestling stuff just to see my reaction, like, the hamster wheels in my brain going like, what if they do this? What if they do this? It was the speculation from Rinoa that you liked so much. At least that's how I saw it. Maybe you did like the covering of something different and all the cute gags I did. But yeah. We're at the fireworks factory now. How many explosions are we going to see of Cody actually where he's going? All eyes on Cody Rhodes, Cody and Brandi. But yeah, it'd be weird to see the end of, like, who the hell told you this was open mic night, bitch? I thought that was her thing. She did it twice enough to be like, yeah, I can see that as a... Like, they're leaving. What about Dustin Rhodes? What about Arn Anderson? Well, I guess he's got his son now. He's got, the son of Anderson. What's his name? Brock Anderson? Brock Anderson. God, how long have I been going for? Yeah, I wanted at least an hour for this first episode. Again, I don't know if the rest of them will be as long. Again, I did a lot of, like, pushing to... I had to play catch up a little bit with the games that I was going to do and interested in. Can do more with the segments, can do more fun stuff. Maybe it only needs to be an hour long or something like that. But again, I'm not sure if I'm going to go weekly or bi-weekly. Some segments might fall to the wayside. Some others, might be desperate enough to keep whether people like it or not. Because again, it's the Searching for RinoaCast, the Searching for Rinoa podcast. Now that I've catchphrased it, it's the official name. I was like, let me workshop a better name. Like, and instead of working with wood to come up with a better name, I ended up sculpting a dumb but memorable enough catchphrase and calling card enough to keep the title where it's at now. So, whether it's next week or the week after that, either way, and in any case, as always, take care, and thanks for watching.
God damn it, baby, no, I ain't lying to you. I'm only gonna tell you one time.